morning, boys and girls. Guess what? Today is another exciting episode of Making Connections with Connie Concepts. And don't tell anybody, but we're going to take a look at multiplication. I know that's been a tough one for all of you. Those 1-digit and 2-digit multipliers and multiplicands and the products. And oh my gosh, how do I solve this? Well, let's see what we have in store.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today, Connie Concepts will show you how to use arrays to solve 1-digit and 2-digit multiplication problems. Good luck.
All right, boys and girls. Now, before we get started, I have an example to show you in Kidspiration with 1-digit multiplication and 2-digit multiplication. But I want to make you aware down at the bottom our vocabulary so that you have an idea of the terminology that you'll hear me using. First we have arrays. Now an array is an arrangement of a set of numbers in rows and columns. Next we have product, and as you know, the product is the answer in a multiplication problem. And factors are the set of numbers being multiplied. You may have heard the terms multiple and multiplicand. We're going to get into that much later. Okay, so let's begin. Here we go. Let's look at 1-digit multiplication. Now, how did I get here, you ask? Before we begin, if I look at my Kidspiration starter, I want to skip the new and go to activities, and I'm going to choose math. Under math, I want to go to the second row, last one, building arrays. And this will be good for those who are just beginning to work with multiplication. Now, Connie uses arrays. Okay, so here we have building arrays. And again, I got that off of our Kidspiration starter. This is a template that you can use whenever you have to solve 1-digit multiplication problems. Let's take a look at our directions because we want to be good students and always read the directions first. Now, we are to build an array to find each product. So we're going to build an array for each of these number sentences. Then we're going to record each product in the green box. Now, as you can see, the product they want us to record is the answer. Now, before we start, Kidspiration was nice enough to give us an example. Here we have 4 times 2. This 4 stands for how many columns we have. And the columns we have are 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how many blocks are in, how many units are in each column? Who can guess? That's right, 2. If you notice here, I have my 4 columns, 4, and I have 2 in each column. Now, an array helps me by not only letting me, if I were new at this, I could add all of my units, and if I add them, I would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The product would be 8. And there I could clearly see that 4 times 2 gives me 8. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, I think that was a great example, and I think we're ready to begin with the first one. Now the first one says 2 times 3. I'm going to choose a different color only because I want to be able to visually see what I've been doing across the board. So I'm going to have how many columns, boys and girls? That's right, 2. 1, 2. And I'm going to make my work very neat and put them at the top. Now, I have 2 columns, and how many are going to be in each column? 3. 3 units. So I want to be very careful and make sure I'm being accurate, because not being accurate will not give me the right product. I have 1, 2, 3 in this column, but as you can see here, I'm missing it from this column. I'm missing the rest of my units. There we go. Now, we can begin by adding this. So we can add 1, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We see here that 2 times 3 gives us 6. Or we could also put 2 times 3 and visually understand that 2 times 3 gives us a product of 6. I'm going to put the answer in the green box per my instructions. And now, the great thing about this is if I mess up, I can go back and check my work and see what did I do. Oftentimes, when you're asked to just memorize problems, you don't see where you messed up. So this is what I want you guys to do when you start multiplication. Now, 5 times 1. I already have an answer from, thank you, Jake, who's telling me that I'm going to have 5 columns, and let's choose a different color, thank you. Now, how many is going to be, how many units will I have in each column? 1, that's right. Now, don't get confused and add another 1. You already have your 1 unit right here. You have your 5 columns and your 1 unit per column. Do we all see that? Great. So we have 5 times 1. We can see that 5 times 1 gives us a product of 5. Good job. You guys are getting the hang of this. That was a tricky one, and you'll probably do more of those when you come across them. Last one we're going to do is 4 times 4. 4 times 4, we're going to have 4 columns. I only had 3. Need to make sure I'm counting. I have 4 columns, and how many will I have in each column? That's right, 4. So far I have 1, so I need to add 3 more to each column. So this first column has 4. This second column has 4. And if you notice, I have not finished building my array. Your array should be a complete rectangle or a square. I still have this empty space. I am not done. And most of you have already counted, and I hear quite a few excited hands telling me that 4 times 4 gives us a product of 16. Let's put 16 in our box. And we have just worked with solving 1-digit multiplication problems. That was our first objective of the day. What I want you boys and girls to do is to find the answers for 3 times 5, make your arrays, 6 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 3. Email me the product or the answer at ConnieConcepts@gmail.com, and I will have a prize for the first lucky winner. Here's my email address, ConnieConcepts@gmail.com. Next week, boys and girls, we're going to look at solving 2-digit multiplication using the partial product method. Now, most of you are probably like, 26 times 14, 38 times 48. But don't worry, Connie has some great solutions to help you succeed in math. And don't forget, study your vocabulary words and stay tuned for next week's episode of Making Connections with Connie Concepts.